Greetings from our Middle Tennessee studio, and welcome to today's Vista Points podcast, Choose Your Path, where the Vista Points staff are committed to improving the quality of life for people of any age who are living with a physical, mental, or intellectual disability. I'm Bart, your podcast host. I'm happy to be here with you and back from our summer hiatus. I hope you enjoyed your summer and you're ready for fall. I can't believe how quickly time passes, but I'm glad I get to spend it with you. My role with this podcast is to walk with you on this journey of discovering and using special needs trust. If you're new to our podcast, I invite you to refer to past episodes which are found on the Vista Points website and on YouTube. Now let's pick up where we left off by interviewing professionals whose products and services can benefit special needs trust beneficiaries. This year's focus has been the importance of health, specifically through self-care and mental health for ourselves and others, no matter what age someone is or what phase in life they're in. Today, I'm very fortunate to interview Kelly and Greg Inman of Next Day Access in Memphis, Tennessee. We'll learn a little about them, home health care, and the Next Day Access approach called Whole Home, Whole Life. Hello, Kelly and Greg. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello.
Good morning. How are y'all doing?
Great, thank you. I understand you own and work at Next Day Access. Would you tell us what it is and some of the general services the company provides? Greg, why don't you start?
Sure, be glad to. I've been in Next Day Access about 10 years. Kelly's been with us about 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we're an accessibility company. Of course, that doesn't say a lot to a lot of people, but what that basically means is that we offer access in and out and around the home by way of wheelchair ramps, stair lifts, grab bars, help get in and out of the shower, in and off the toilet, things like that. So even in-home elevators. So we have a wide variety of products, but mainly focuses on accessibility.
Great. Thanks, Greg. Kelly, did he forget anything?
No, he didn't. He covered pretty much all of it. We also have a showroom in Bartlett, and with that goes along with the mobility. Right. We have wheelchairs and walkers and scooters, and you can come in our office. We're located in the Bartlett area, and we're open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. So you can come in and you can we have a working stair lift that you can try because some of the seniors like to, touch, feel, ride, all that because it's a big investment for a stair lift. So you can come to our home office and we have a whole showroom full of all kinds of products.
So they can come in and test drive. Is that the idea?
Correct. That is correct.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. To be upfront with you, I've talked with other home health and service companies and nonprofits. What would you say sets Next Day Access apart from the others in your industry?
Well, there are not a lot of companies that do exactly what we do, but even with the ones that are here, the one thing that sets us apart is that we understand that these needs are immediate. And sometimes people have an event and they go to the hospital, and then as they're leaving the hospital, they realize that their home is not equipped to handle that. So we keep a lot of these, I mentioned the ramps and the stair lifts and grab bars. We keep a lot of the main products in stock where we can take care of that person sometimes as early as the next day.
Greg, that's great. I appreciate that. You have the information available and you're taking care of people as they need it. Now, will each of us tell us a little bit about yourself? What first attracted you to home health services? And why do you stay in the industry? Kelly, you want to start?
I will start. So Greg and I have been married 34 years, and we have 4 grown sons, and we are now empty nesters, and it's kind of fun. And we have 6 grandkids, and we have 1 on the way. So probably in the next 2 weeks, we'll have 7 grandkids.
Wow.
And like Greg said, that we're passionate about what we do because we are helping seniors stay in their home. And that's kind of the driving force behind the passion of what we do, because we are truly changing lives. And we'll share stories later on in this podcast. But we are, it's great to be a part of something that's, elevating people's lives, because some people are prisoners in their own home. We see it daily. And so that's what drives me, is that we are actually doing something for the greater good.
Wow. How about you, Greg?
Yeah, and I totally agree with Kelly. In fact, the first half of my work life, when all the children were small, I've been in the service business pretty much all my work life. I seem to just stay in the service business. I don't know why. It's just one of those things I gravitate to. And so, I always enjoyed previous occupations, but when I started with Next Day Access, we got to help a customer once early on, and we installed a couple of stair lifts at her home. And I didn't really realize it until that day, the difference we were making for people. Mm-hmm. She had not been upstairs in 2 years. Of course, she had children, she had a maid, so other people had been up there, but she just could not navigate the steps. And when she rode the stair lift up for the first time, and she could independently go up and down stairs by herself without the help of other people, and the emotion that she had with that, mm-hmm. She was crying, she was praising Jesus. I mean, honestly, I realized real quick that, I've never been in any kind of industry where the customers responded in that way. So mm-hmm. I knew that we were involved in something that was life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you guys have quite a story. And I thank you for sharing it, and our listeners thank you. It's so helpful to know more about the people we're talking with. You're obviously passionate about who you serve. You're clearly the right people for Next Day Access. Your story reminded me of the Next Day Access approach called Whole Home, Whole Life that you talked about earlier. Can you tell us more about this?
Well, I'll be glad to if you'd like. Okay. Well, basically what I just talked about really segues into that great, because we have met people that a term I've heard used, I've used it myself, for people who are a prisoner in their home. Mm-hmm. They can't leave their home because they can't negotiate 3 little steps outside their front door, or they have to have help to get in and out. And with with that approach, it's to where we basically can set a person's home up where they can independently move about their home. And so in the whole home, like I mentioned before, this lady that I talked about a minute ago, she had not been upstairs in 2 years. She was not enjoying her whole home. She was stuck on the first floor of her house. And so that approach basically allows the individuals to enjoy the entire home like it was meant to be.
Wow. That's the way to improve somebody's life. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
To make this approach to life possible for everybody, I see on your website you offer a big variety of accessibility, mobility, home and bath safety products. Would you tell us a little more about them? Why don't we start with the accessibility products that you've been talking about? And please share another story.
I can take it. Like I said, in our showroom, we have lots of different products, but like Greg said, we continually see cases where people are prisoners in their own home. And I met a guy named Joe a few years ago, and he was a quadriplegic. And once he had the accident and he had surgery, he went to rehab, and then he went home. He was a prisoner in his home, and he stayed in that home because he couldn't navigate the stairs. He was in a manual wheelchair, or a power wheelchair, and he was literally a prisoner. He did not leave his home for 3 years, and that just overwhelmed me. I could not imagine not leaving my home in 3 years, because he had stairs in the carport and he had stairs at the front. So once his friends and family got him in the house, he was stuck in the house. And so he was part of the Choices program. And so we put an 18-foot ramp in his garage. 18 inches of rise was all that was the barrier between him being a prisoner in his home and being outside. And so we put a wheelchair ramp in his garage. and it changed his life. And I was there for the install. I was crying. He was crying. He came and wheeled out of the house, out of the door, down the ramp, and he went straight to the sun. And he let the sun bask on him for a minute. He hadn't had that in 3 years. And I can't fathom that kind of lifestyle. And so 18 inches changed his life, and it changed me that day.
That's amazing. It's great that how accessibility products make such a difference. The mobility products you're talking about, the wheelchair ramps. At Vista Points, we sometimes purchase wheelchair ramps for people to use in their home or their rental property. To me, they seem to be a key for the person to live a quality of life that he or she wants, just like you talked about, Kelly, free the prisoner.
That's right.
In your showroom, what do you offer?
Well, Kelly mentioned before as far as mobility products, we have scooters and even lift chairs.
Mm-hmm.
And the scooters are probably the most popular item as far as showroom items that we have. And we have those available for sale. They can purchase them right off the floor. But also we have a section of our business that is rental. And we also rent to individuals that are coming in town, say they're going to visit Beale Street or Graceland or something like that. And so we'll deliver the scooter to a local hotel, and then once they finish their visit, we'll pick it back up from that local hotel. So that actually was something we, I guess, fell into. We got a few phone calls, and I'm thinking, first few I said, no, we don't rent scooters. Then I realized, wait a minute, this is a thing, and people want these and need these. And so we put together a program, and it's been very successful.
That sounds great, Greg. I think it's neat that I don't have to bring my stuff with me. I can just rent it from you guys so I can go visit Elvis's place.
Exactly.
Hey, could you tell us more about your home and bath safety products? I know that most accidents, such as falls, happen in the bathroom. For our clients who live with a disability, that bathroom can really be a challenging place. How's one of your products impacted one of your clients who lives with a disability?
The one thing that comes to my mind is simply installing grab bars in the bathroom. It's not a huge expense, but it can help with either the client or the patient or the caregiver. Because a lot of times the caregivers are bathing and they're helping clean up. And so they need just simple grab bars in the bathroom. And we keep those in stock. We send our installers out, and they do an evaluation, and they do an install in the same 25 minutes. So we don't, go to the house and come back and then go back and forth. We literally go to the home, do the evaluation, and install them. And that has been a big part of our business because it's such an inexpensive cost, but it's so needed because the bathroom is the most dangerous room in the home. And most people are going to fall as they get in and out of the shower.
Right. And those are, those are great additions. Also, another thing with most homes have just a standard tub, a standard 60 by 30 bathtub. And we can actually remove that tub and install a roll-in shower to where, there's expense to that, but there's a lot of companies in town that do something very close to that, but they don't actually always install an ADA shower. They just redo your bathroom because we talked to a lot of people that thought that they were going to get an ADA shower. And so that's where we can help. We actually are able to give them a almost zero entry. It's like a 3/4 inch rise, but you're going to want something to help keep the water out, discourage it anyway.
Yeah.
So we can put in a almost zero entry shower where you can roll a shower commode chair into the shower and person can bathe or can shower. And then, those units, they come equipped with grab bars as well. We could even have a fold down seat if the person's not in a wheelchair, if they're able to transfer. It also comes with the handheld shower head that gives them more flexibility and able to use that. And now we even have, if a person for some reason can't afford that kind of modification, we have what's known as a cutout tub, where you can actually, we actually cut out a portion of the tub wall and we put an insert in there, and it just lowers the tub wall to where a person that can't step over, say, the 14-inch wall of the tub, it gives them the ability to lower that wall to where they can step into the tub and take a shower. If they need to take a tub, they have components of that cutout tub that allows you to still take a bath as well, where you can fill that gap and fill the tub up with water, and it works fantastic. So there are many options. If a person has a standard bathtub in their house, it doesn't mean that they're stuck. It doesn't mean they have to pay $15,000, like a lot of companies are charging. There actually are solutions where, they can have their bathroom modified for a lot cheaper than that.
Greg, you talked about ADA, which is American with Disabilities Act. Is that a certification for the product you have that makes it different from other people's product?
Well, ADA is more of a guideline, and I want to think that it was brought forth back in the 70s, I believe. I think it was under Bush Sr., his presidency when it came out, and it's guidelines, but there are certifications. Like Kelly and I both are CAP certified, which that is by the Home Builders Association, and it just, they go through ways to make a home accessible. So there are certifications such as the CAPS, and then also there's one called CHAMPS that I'm CHAMP certified, and that has to do with the workers' comp industry as well. So we have, and the nice thing about CAPS is we have to have our continuing education units every year. So as we go through and learn throughout the year, then that supplies our points for our recertification of our CAPS certification. So we're constantly learning of new ways to help individuals, and we use the ADA guidelines as our structure for that.
That's great. Thanks, Greg. You and Kelly do impact people's lives every day through your Next Day Access program. At Vista Points, we serve quite a range of people, all ages, abilities, disabilities, economic levels, and more. And I'm happy to say a special needs trust beneficiary can use their trust funds to pay for your items and services. For example, our clientele ages, they may need those grab bars you talked about added to their home, or they might need a lift chair. They can get up much easier with less strain. Some of our clients even request the scooters you've talked about so they can get around, and we can come to you to help them with that service. I think you have a new fan. That would be me and many of our listeners. I appreciate your approach to the whole home, whole life, how easy it is to work with you. Speaking of which, what's the best way for someone to contact you at Next Day Access of Memphis? Like your phone number, email address, website?
I can do that. So we have a website. It's nextdayaccess.com, and you'll find a ton of information. We have locations all over the country. And our home or our work address is 2979 Kate Bond Road, and that's in Bartlett, 38133. And we are right across from St. Francis in Bartlett. And our telephone number is 901-881-6769. And then my personal cell phone, which I use for work as well, is 901-258-2626. And then Greg's is 901-870-0581. And we are happy to take your phone calls, or you come see us at our office.
Okay, Kelly, thank you. Can you give us that website one more time? Because our listeners are tech savvy and they are, they're online.
Yes, it is nextdayaccess.com.
Thanks. To
Hey,
make
Bart,
sure our listeners, go ahead.
Do you mind if I circle back to the trust? You
Not
mentioned
at all.
that earlier. Yeah, and as far as the trust goes, we do work with trust. In that, in fact, we just did recently, we had an individual that needed a stair lift. And I will say that sometimes, depending on what's needed, if it's a special order, then we do require, certain amount down. And in this particular situation, the trust did give us 50% down and then 50% after, they were satisfied with the installation. In a lot of cases, that's, we don't have to have two payments like that. We're satisfied with one. It all depends on what it is, but we have worked with trust, and we realize that sometimes there's a delay in payment of a couple of weeks or whatever the time frame is, depending on. But we're okay with working with the trust.
Thanks, Greg. And Vista Points would be happy to work with you folks, and any of their team members can work with the clientele and you guys to get what is needed. And I thank you so much for the information that you've shared and talking with us today. You've provided the helpful information as well as a new approach to life. Thank you very much. Anything you'd like to follow up with?
I think the last thing I would like to say is, as far as how we take payment, insurance does not cover a lot of what we do. And so we do offer care credit. We just got approved for that. And we also provide rental. Even Greg mentioned that earlier, but we also rent stair lifts and wheelchair ramps. So because sometimes people have a temporary need,
exactly,
and they're going to rehab out and they're going to be just fine. So we want to make it as cost effective as possible, because some people don't want a wheelchair ramp in front of their home. And then even if to expound on that a little bit, we can even powder coat some of our wheelchair ramps and make them, black or that oil rubbed bronze color. So we can make it, a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. But we are pretty much private pay, but we're going to do whatever we can to help this person figure out a way, because most of the time it's a need and they know their challenging areas in their home and they're going to figure it out. But we're also in the Choices program, which is Tennessee Medicaid. And then we are like the ramp go-to for Habitat for Humanity and the Memphis and Jackson Center for Independent Living. So we have different areas, that we can try to help get money for people.
That's great. Thanks so much. It sounds like you two are also dedicated to improving the quality of somebody's life living with a disability. As we conclude today's podcast, and I thank you to the podcast listeners for tuning in to Choose Your Path, a Vista Points podcast. Don't forget to ask your questions. If you haven't in a while, I encourage you to do so. You can ask your questions by calling the Vista Points office at 888-422-4076. That number again is 888-422-4076. Each of the Vista Points team is happy to answer your questions, and they'll assist you in any way you can. You can also ask your questions through the Facebook page, Vista Points Inc. That's Vista Points INC. Or you can send us a DM, a direct message. This podcast has become a beneficial resource and has grown to reach more and more people. Subscribe to the Vista Points YouTube channel. Be the first to listen to the new podcast as it drops on the 1st and the 15th of every month. It's named Vista Points SNT. That's SNT as in Special Needs Trust. Again, the Vista Points YouTube channel is named Vista Points SNT. You can listen to current or past episodes there. You can also find our past episodes to listen to and read their transcripts on Vista Points website at vistapoints.org. That's vistapoints.org. Enjoy your day with your loved one. Come back for more or look into past episodes of Choose Your Path. Regardless of where you find us, we walk beside you on your path. I look forward to sharing more information with you on how Special Needs Trust can benefit anyone living with a disability. Cheers.